People think housekeepers just clean messes, but what they don't know is, sometimes we find the kind that never washes away, the kind that lives under the floorboards, behind locked doors, inside people's smiles. For 3 years, I worked in that house, polishing their lies, folding their guilt. And every day, I looked at the man who destroyed my life and smiled. They never asked why I came to work there, and I never told them, because some secrets aren't meant to be spoken. They're meant to be witnessed. The rain didn't stop for 3 days after Mira arrived at the Whitmore mansion. It clung to the windows, whispered against the glass like a warning. Inside, the house was enormous, the kind of place that looked too perfect to be real. Chandeliers that glittered even without light, carpets so soft they swallowed her steps, and portraits of the family smiling down from every wall. To anyone else, the Whitmores were a picture of success. To Mira, they were a reminder of everything she had lost. 3 years earlier, she had been someone else, a woman with dreams, a home, a family. But all of that disappeared the night her father's construction company collapsed under false accusations. It was Mr. Whitmore who had signed the papers that ruined them, selling her father's trust for his own gain. Her father died soon after, heartbroken, humiliated. Her mother followed, unable to bear the loss. And Mira, she disappeared too, into the shadows of grief. Until one day she saw an ad, housekeeper wanted, discretion and loyalty required. The name on the listing froze her heart, Whitmore Estate. It was then she knew what she had to do. Mira worked quietly. She never made mistakes. Mrs. Whitmore liked that, a servant who didn't ask questions. Mr. Whitmore appreciated her too, though not for the same reasons. He would linger in the study when she cleaned, his voice smooth and rehearsed. "You're quite efficient, Mira," he'd say, pouring himself a drink. "Not many people can handle this house." She'd smile politely. "It's just work, sir." But every time his reflection met hers in the mirror, she felt her chest tighten. He didn't recognize her. Of course he didn't. To him, she was invisible. Just another woman cleaning up his messes. That suited her just fine, because she was waiting and watching. One morning, while dusting the upstairs corridor, Mira discovered a locked door she hadn't noticed before. It was plain, unmarked, hidden behind a heavy curtain. When she asked Mrs. Whitmore about it, the woman's smile flickered. "That room is private. You're never to go in there, understood?" Mira nodded. "Of course, ma'am." But that night, when the mansion fell silent, curiosity gnawed at her like a living thing. She took the master key from the utility drawer and slipped into the hall barefoot. The door opened with a whisper. Inside, the air was cold. The room smelled faintly of paint and dust. Then she saw it. Portraits. Dozens of them, stacked against the walls. But one made her knees go weak. It was a painting of her father, not a photograph. A painted portrait, signed by a famous artist, hanging in a frame worth more than his entire life savings. Her breath caught. On the back of the canvas she saw the date, 2 months after his death. Her father's signature was there too, forged. And beneath it, a receipt for a charitable donation from Whitmore Industries. Her father hadn't been ruined by mistake. He had been erased. That weekend, the Whitmores hosted their anniversary party. Dozens of guests filled the mansion with laughter, music, and wine. Mira moved through the crowd like a ghost, serving drinks, smiling faintly, unseen. Mr. Whitmore was in his element, shaking hands, boasting of deals and donations. She watched him, her expression unreadable. When he raised a toast, Mira slipped away into the kitchen. She opened a small wooden box she'd kept hidden under the sink for months, a flash drive labeled evidence. For years, she had quietly collected proof. Photocopies, receipts, emails she'd found in his office while cleaning. Documents showing how Whitmore Industries had framed smaller companies, stolen contracts, ruined families, including hers. She uploaded everything to an anonymous website that night. Every secret, every lie, released into the world. Then she returned to the ballroom, just in time to see Mr. Whitmore's phone buzz. He glanced down, paled, and stumbled backward. The crowd whispered as his confident grin vanished. "What's wrong, dear?" Mrs. Whitmore asked, her voice tight with concern. He didn't answer. He was reading headlines that spelled his own destruction. The next morning, the mansion was chaos. Reporters at the gates, calls unanswered, lawyers whispering in corners. Mira quietly folded her apron, packed her bag, and walked down the grand staircase for the last time. Mrs. Whitmore rushed toward her, eyes wild. "You can't leave now. We need you. Everything's falling apart." Mira looked at her calmly. "I know." She turned toward the door, then paused. Her voice was almost gentle when she spoke again. "Ma'am, you might want to check the room behind the curtain upstairs." Mrs. Whitmore frowned. "What room?" But Mira was already outside. The rain had stopped. The sky was pale and clean. As she walked down the long driveway, sirens began echoing in the distance. Inside the mansion, Mrs. Whitmore would find the locked door open, and the truth staring back at her from a painted frame. Mira's father's eyes, captured forever in oil and color, watching from the wall. And beneath the painting, a small note, written in Mira's handwriting. "For every stain you tried to hide, I left one you can never erase." Months later, the Whitmore mansion went up for sale, its reputation in ruins. No one wanted to buy it. People whispered that the house was cursed. Neighbors said sometimes, late at night, you could still hear footsteps in the halls. Soft, patient, deliberate, like a housekeeper cleaning up one last secret.